Don't worry about it, babe. It wasn't even 100,000 I lost today. Honest. Hello. Oh, let me get that off there. What a way to start the show. Hello, everybody. I'm John Zidar, aka the Stock Wizard. This is our live on top and hot show brought to you by Penny Boys, the Discord that cares about how you trade. So it has been one heck of a day for me, folks. On these Thursdays, not only do I have to do this show, do all the due diligence before the show, I'm trading with everybody too. So that's a lot going on for me. And I'm changing gears right now. All of my communication has been through my fingers. Now I got to talk. And through the day, I'm rushing. It's like deadline after deadline. Wizzy, can you show me this chart? What do you think of this one? And I feel like, well, they're in a hurry. They're looking at it right now. So this is a good time for me to slow down and relax. You guys have given me a bunch of stocks. I've got 6 of them, I think, lined up to look at. And I've got to ask you, I get the same people giving me stocks basically every week. Why do I keep getting so many biotechs and pharmaceutical companies? You know how I feel about that. We have more biotechs and pharmaceutical companies today than any other sector. And you do realize, as far as I know, the biotech and pharmaceutical sector has more companies than any other sector. So we could be talking about them forever. The reason I don't like them, it's twofold. One, most of them are R&D. So that means when they get news, it's on a phase trial that takes years to get through. It pops today, we look at it, it drops tomorrow. What a waste of time. It's going to be a while before we get another catalyst. But more importantly, the reason I don't like biotechs and pharmaceuticals is because of all the terminology you force me to read. You guys throw me into the fire pot and make me look silly. I wonder if that's why you do it. So I do have the gang here bringing me my tickers. Velmore, I got your AEON. We've got that covered. MBS, thank you for being here. You seem to be showing up earlier and earlier. We've got your COSM. Cheers to you too, buddy. I like it when people use cheers. I actually use it because it became part of my custom. I was in Scotland for 10 years. So when you hear me say, oh, look at this thing jump just a wee bit, that's where I got it from. No American uses the word we, at least no adult male. The underdog, we got your Kappa JM. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you being here. Life Sciences, yes, we've got that covered. Mark, you are the cutoff line, buddy. Mark was over there trading. He's also working. He's a busy man through the day. I don't know how he does everything he does. We're not going to be able to look at Wheeler. Not maybe if we have any extra time left. Hello, Eric. Great to have you here. Sierra and Cooler. Cooler was hot today. We did see that one jumping. Kashera, great to have you here. Mr. John. I love it when she calls me Mr. John. We've been here before. He, Kashera is a he. I don't know why I keep thinking that's a woman's name. And you wanted to look at Radar and Phil. Look at all of these. David, John Ramon. Great to have you guys. Black White. Jen Fari. Hey. Kenny Killebrew. Man, I'm loving you all being here. Thank you very much. So let's jump on into this, folks. I don't have anything extra to throw at you. So let's just jump into the stocks that you have brought me. You can hear me. You can see me. I can see you can see me. So we're looking good. All right. First stock we're going to look at. I've got notes because I can't remember all of this. Not really. We're going to take a look at FPay. This was actually requested yesterday from Tijano. I got this over at Penny Boys. He trades over there. He actually had a couple of tickers he wanted me to look at. I grabbed this one up. We're going to be looking at FPay Flex Shopper, which is a lease to own company. Remember those furniture companies? You could go in and you could buy a dining room set and you rent it every piece. You rent the table and every single chair, $1 a week for the chair, $2.50 for the table a week, and you pay for it. Well, it's cheap to get in, but boy, to get out, was it expensive? The prices you were paying in the long run were really exorbitant. Well, that's what this company does, and they sell a lot of different consumer goods. We're going to see that there have been a lot of insider buys, and they are bringing on rights offerings as well. Now, we never talk about rights. We talk about warrants. Warrants are those coupons that you can trade now as stock, get in, get out, make your profit. But warrants are truly promissory notes that allow you to buy a share of stock 3-5 years down the road at a guaranteed set price now. They may say you can buy a share at $1. Once this hits 90 cents, you can buy a share for $1. Well, it hits 90 cents. You say, well, why would I buy a share for $1? Well, you wouldn't right now. It's just live. 3 years from now, the stock could be $15. You get to buy a share for $1 with that warrant. That's how Warren Buffett makes millions of dollars is off of his warrants. Well, rights are the same thing, but in the front door. You buy a right, it gives you the right to buy a share of stock cheaper than the going rate now, early. And they've sold a whole bunch of those as well, which normally isn't a great thing. Warrants and rights also put more shares on the market. Every time they're exercised, boing, you get a new share, and there you go. So we've also got a low float in this company. Flex Shopper is out of Florida. She finished the day at about $1.62. She was down just a little over 4%. She is a penny stock on the NASDAQ, which is better than stocks on the OTC for a lot of good reasons. First off, you never pay to buy your shares or sell your shares on the major exchange. Usually you do on the OTC. You get to trade them pre-market, after-market. Folks, you never get to do that with OTC stocks. You may see them being traded, but not by us. It's by brokers and marketers, and they don't care about the price going up. They really don't. They like to see it come down because they make money in different ways than we do. There's also a lot more volume and a lot more money up on the major exchange. If you're going to be trading, you want that. And there's a lot more rules, which is really why I prefer now to trade up on the major exchange than the OTC. I like the OTC because this is where you get your startup companies that become the giants of the future. But there's a lot of risk down there, and I want to avoid that risk. And all the rules on the major exchange do that for me. So FPay, let's see what we've learned about this company. I jumped over to their website. Hopefully all my highlights are still here. And they give you an example. Now, I'm sure they have a business site. This is their consumer site, but it gives you an example. Furniture, electronics, all sorts of stuff. Now, let's just take a look at one for a quick example. I'm looking at this TV here. Let's just jump into this TV and see what they say. So you can get this 24-inch LED TV for $2.40 a week, and it's going to come from Best Buy. So obviously they've got a lot of connections, affiliations, some sort of deals with a lot of other companies that are going to be sending out their products. What I was looking for as I was going through this is how many weeks? What's the price overall? Nowhere. I did jump around looking and looking. I could not find anything that told me how many weeks. Maybe you got to get all the way down to the very last page and it tells you. So I couldn't find that information out, but that's the business that they're doing. But it was interesting to see, though. I can see I'm going to lose all my highlights. This is going to suck. I spent a lot of time highlighting this stuff. All right. What I was going to say, and I do remember that they aren't just working with consumer goods. They're working with consumer services, with other stores and franchises. Back here in December, Flex Shopper partners with Tire Agent to expand the tire shopping options for near-prime credit consumers. Flex Shopper announces first come, first served on the extensions of right offerings. I do have that information here. Let me see if we can jump into that real quick. No. Doggone it, I lost all my highlights. This is really going to be rough on me. Flex Shopper expands lease to own solutions at Jiffy Lube and Meineke Car Care Centers. Let's see, there was another one I saw here. Well, in either case, you can see they're not just working with products, and they're not just working with what you would think of as catalog products, buying e-commerce online. They're working with operations out there in the big world. Now, when I went into their filings, I discovered some Form 4s. I do like Form 4s. Form 4s are filed whenever the insiders, the management, get or let loose of shares of the company stock. Now, they can do that in a lot of different ways, but we want to know when they buy them, when they sell them. These are indicators. They're signals to us because they know more than we do. Now, I come in, and as soon as I come in, the first thing I go for to make it quick and sweet is to see what letter here is under the code. If it's a P, it's a purchase. If it's an S, it's a sale. I'm interested. If it's any other letter, I'm normally in and out and really don't care. But just to educate myself, I will dive down here to explanation of responses just to see what it is. Well, this is a purchase. This is from a director. He bought himself 20,000 shares at $1.54. We had another insider purchase. This is the CEO. He bought himself 30,000 shares at $1.45. And if you come to the far right, you can see how many shares that brings him up to. He is now up to just under 1 million shares. But I did not see any catalyst over here. I don't see any news, any new deals, anything like that. We just have a business that is moving along. So let's take a look at the relative volume for the company. It's about 50%, darn near on the money, dropping from 327,000 shares on the major exchange. Anything under 1 million is deadly under the radar. Today, she did 167,000 shares. Share structure for FPay, we're at about 21 million. I don't have any information about what the insiders own or what the float is. I just know it's not more than the outstanding share count. So our float won't be any higher than 21 million. And depending on how many shares the insiders own, could be considerably less. Market cap, we are at 36 million. Financials for FPay, they making any money? Yes, they are. It's bobbling around, but it's coming up slowly. They were at 102 million 4 years ago. We know it's millions because we got to add 3 zeros to any of these numbers. She's kicked it up to over the last 4 years to 116 million, and she's keeping a lot of profit. Look at that. 4 years ago, she was only keeping like 35%, 35 million out of 102. Now she made 116 and got to keep 110. That's the kind of formula I like to see. Quarterlies, she's hanging around the low to mid 30s. We're talking about millions every quarter. So she's doing like 10 to 12 million every single month. And she's doing very strong profits. Taking a look at the balance sheet for the company, we got about 7 million in the bank. That's what I like to call their cash and cash equivalents. Total assets, we're at 187 million. Total liabilities is just under that at 157 million. So we're holding roughly 30 million in stockholder equity. So we've got a lot of equity here for the investors. We've got good revenues. We've got great profit margins. So the fundamentals look pretty decent. And we've already jumped into the disclosures. So let's just jump right on over to the charts and take a look at FPay. Trust me, if I copy it, it'll save us time. Let's see, are you following me? You is. I like you. Oh boy, Apple today, folks. Did you see Apple? Oh, Apple. I'm going to come down to the 5-minute chart. Look at what happened to Apple today, folks. I bought a put right here, and I followed that put down. And down here, I sold it. Somewhere down here, I got a little scared. Maybe here. I got 200% gains on that put. It was a small put. It was a 2-day put. For about $50, I made like $100 profit. Then I got back in. I caught it here. This was 128% gains. She came back up. I bought in again, sold this one for 112% gains. So I had 3 puts today on the Apple. I don't even know why she was falling. I don't care. So let us see here. FPay. Let's go back for a full year so we can get our 52-week high and low. 52-week low is at 97 cents, and our 52-week high hit about a week ago at $2.37. She's been running, climbing for the last 3 months. She's had some volatility and bounces in there. She seems to be bouncing off of her 50 and 200 haul as she's climbing, but these are some pretty big bounces. Oscillators are all pushing downhill right now on our 1-year chart. Checking out our 6-month 4-hour view. It's kind of just a closer picture of the year. She's bouncing on the 200 here. We can see that she's definitely respecting the 200-day MA. We can count on this for a bounce most likely. Our oscillators look like they have hit the floor down here. Everything is just coming to the bottom of the bowl and starting to cusp up. You can see that here. This has got just a little ways more to go. We've already cusped down here on our MACD. It's coming up. And our RSI is pretty cool. That's down there at 45 right now. Jumping down to our 1 hour view. All right, we had a jump from $1.36 to $2.57. We were just about 90%. She's come back down underneath the 200. She looks like she's hanging around here. She is right under the 200. I mean, I know she's under it, but if you can stay up close to it like a monkey hanging on to limbs, that's okay. She has been going sideways under the 200, most likely biding time. She's got all of these MAs over her head. That's a waterfall of pressure coming down on top of her. So all she can do is hang on to something. She's hanging on from underneath to that 200. Once these MAs get up underneath her, she'll be able to put her feet on those MAs and start to climb back up. So that's what we're looking for here. All these MAs to come down underneath the price. As you can see her trying to get up on top. She'll start to grab onto these now and try to pull herself out of this. All of our oscillators are all starting to come up now. All of them are starting to turn up. 5-day, 15-minute. Well, that doesn't look as pretty as the other ones, does it? We had a downtrend for the last 5 days from 226 down to $1.66. And it looks like she was still falling, but she hasn't hit that low yet. She isn't there yet. Well, she is. She is right there, bouncing off of that low bubble. Where's our 200 haul? Our 200 haul is above her. So she's got to get up on top of that 200, which is what she's doing right this very moment. Look, folks, if this can get up on top of that 50, she is then going to be between a 200 haul, which is just about ready to go flat, and a falling 200 MA, which is going flat. Both of the 200s are turning up. She's going to be in the middle. That is a prime punting zone to get through the goalpost, man, to just jump right to and through the 200. So I'd be watching FPay here tomorrow to see if she gets up on top of that 50, because then I would give her an 80% chance of getting up here on top of the 200, wherever it's at. Right now, she's at $1.76. All righty, that does it for FPay. Let me bounce back here and say hi to y'all. Oh, did I not bring that down? My bad. First, let me stop your cross-eyed movement. Get rid of that. Okie dokie. Let me jump to the bottom here, see what you guys are talking about. ISPC is exploding. That's one of the things I hate about these videos after market hours is I miss all the aftermarket hours. Nuke just went nuclear. Oh, cut it out. You're teasing me, Mark. See here, you guys have got a lot of conversation. You know, when I said join me and others, these are the others. I'm talking about all of the viewers. You guys are bringing in hot stocks. Do that. Share them amongst each other. Even if I don't get to it, you guys can talk to one another. Be a community. Help one another out. All right, where are we at? We are at 418, and I am moving on to stock number 2. Stock number 2 comes to me also before I put out my notice of this video today. I can't remember where this one came from. Let's see. Notes, please. FGen came from BAM. BAM. Where did your comment come from? Twitter? I don't recall. We've got another biotech here. This is a Chinese cancer company, an oncology company. Very little news. We do have some filings. There have been some insider buys, but they haven't been for the stock. They've been for calls, options on the stock. And there have been some management changes. So that's really all we've got to look at when it comes to the filings. And as I said, there's not a whole lot of news about this company. FGen is FibroGen Incorporated. She is a U.S. company based out of California. Finished today at about 58 cents. She was down about 3.25% today. This is a penny stock on the NASDAQ coming with those benefits we discussed earlier. So what did I find out about this company? Well, let's see here. Doggone it. Okay, about FibroGen. FibroGen is a biopharmaceutical company focused on accelerating the development of novel therapies at the frontiers of cancer biology. Their drug, which is called Evrenzo, is currently approved in China, Europe, Japan, and numerous other countries for the treatment of anemia and chronic kidney disease with kidney disease patients on dialysis and not on dialysis. They tell us here that this drug has been accepted by review by the China Health Authority, and the program also includes the development of another drug. FibroGen's research and development portfolio includes 2 immuno-oncology product candidates for the treatment of solid tumors. So that's what they're all about. Now, as I said, there's very little information about this company. I did do some jumping around since there was absolutely nothing to be found at the OTC markets, which is where I do all my initial research, but I don't stick there. I use anything I can get my hands on, and I got lots of pages. But I'm over here at Yahoo Finance. They're pretty reliable when it comes to news. I found news that was way back. This was July 31st, and this is the only news I could find. They talked a lot about their financials, but no news. This news, FibroGen axes 75% of their staff after lead cancer therapy fails in phase 3 trial. Dun, 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 dun. This is the worst news you get with the biotech, folks. Phase 3 trial is 5 to 8 years down the road and usually millions of dollars. And who put the bill for that? We did. Investors did. Research and development companies don't have any products. They're looking for a miracle drug to get rich on. And while they're researching it, they need money. That's what we are there for. And once they find a drug, it's got to go through trials. First one is to make it safe. That's for a year. Second one is to see how good it is. That's 3 years. And the third one is pitting it up against their competitors, which can take up to 5 years. So that's a long time. Well, when you fail phase 3, oh my God, the stock normally plummets. Now, I have not looked at this chart, so I don't know what it looks like, but I bet you it plummeted here. So they told us down here that FibroGen has implemented cost reduction measures in the U.S. as 2 phase 3 trials investigating the company's lead oncology candidate failed to meet their primary endpoints. The company plans to suspend the development of the drug and fire 75% of its U.S. workforce. Thank you, China. So there you go. So the last news we had with them was bad, and we haven't had any news since then. So I don't know why it would come back unless I'm missing something somewhere. So let's take a look at the relative volume. Over the last month, she's been averaging at about 1.4 million a day. Today, she did under half of that at just under 700,000 shares on the major exchange. That's hurting. Share structure for FGen? Yeah, it's average. We got 100 million shares outstanding. No clue what the insiders own, so I don't know what the float is going to be. Won't be any higher than 100 million. And that's right, Tom, could be lower, depending on how many they do own. Authorized share count, we are just under 250 million at 225 million. Looking at the financials for FGen. Hey, they're making money. And what kind of money are they making? Up and down. They were at 176 million 4 years ago, pumped that up by 50 million in 2021, dropped about 90 million in 2022, and now they've jumped to mere 7 million in 2023. So we're at 147 with strong profit coming in at 128 million. Quarterlies, all over the place, but it looks like we're hanging around the 50 million for the last 2 quarters. We're at 46 million with 41 million profit. God, I like all that. I like to see high profit margins. Cash in the bank, we got about 131 million. Assets, 264 million. Ow! With twice that in liabilities, 486 million. So with strong revenues, very strong profit margin, we, the investors, are holding $243 million in deficit. We are carrying virtually $250 million in deficit. So what sort of money was this company making? Nothing, right? No, they're making money, but God almighty. All right, why do we have so much deficit? All right, the Form 4s, I told you what those were. These were options. You can see this down here. Stock options, they give you the information, but I normally don't pay a whole heck of a lot of attention to that because you don't know how far off those options are. Options could be a year from now or a week from now. You just don't know. But if they buy stock, and especially a lot of it, it means something's probably going to happen quickly and they don't want to miss out on it. Or if the price is super duper low, they're just averaging down like anybody would. So I do believe that takes care of everything for FGen. Not that there was a whole lot there. So let's go take a look at the chart, and let's take a look at, what was it, July? That's when she had that phase 2 trial fail. FGen. Following me? You guys are slow. I got a second computer over here I'm looking. And after I change my page, it doesn't change over there. So I bet there's a lag in my movement to my mouth. I'll bet there is. All right, there's FGen. Let's bring this up. Not FGen, F. No. Just regular FGen. Right. All right, let's kick this back 1 year. So going back a year, we had our 52-week high in February. That was at $2.93. And our 52-week low hit in November of 18 cents. So where is July? July right here. So we had a big drop right there. The 31st of July, I thought it was the 21st that news came out. It was just about the 26th. She started to fall from $1.30 down to 58 cents. Wow. That's a huge drop. That's like 60% drop. So I'm willing to bet that's where she fell. And she was going sideways from 36 cents with a casual drop, but not much. That drop there to 18 cents was just a drop and plop. And she came right back up to 36 cents. So she's really been at 36 cents for months. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. And then she decided to start pushing up here. The 200 started to come closer, which could be helping. That's a long ways away, and the 200 wasn't doing anything either. It was just going sideways. Once the 200 got closer, this is when we started seeing her move towards it. She's pulled away right now. We've got our 200 haul underneath, our 50 right there. We've got a good, strong possibility of this moving up on top of the 200, getting out from underneath the water, under the 200, into the air. You move faster in the air than you do in the water. Oscillators here, they're pretty tepid. Everything is just kind of going sideways on our yearly chart. Looking at our 6-month, 4-hour. Wow. So we've got a downtrend from $1.78. She's really trying to get over that 200. Look, our 200 was falling hard here. She's pushing towards it, saying, I want to climb, but that's too steep for me to make a breakout. Then she started to go level because she's pushed the price up. That tugs the 200 up. That makes it come up. She tried to get on top of it here, failed. Tried a second time, was still too steep. If you try to get up on top of the 200 when it's too steep, you'll trip and fall like Jack and Jill, and you'll go further down than where you were when you started. That was a big fall. She fell here from $1.11 down to 51 cents. Although this was the same time that news came out. So she may have been on a breakout there, and then the news just totally ruined it. Then we went sideways, hitting our low here. Who the heck knows why she dropped, but that would have been a quick gain there, right? 100% from 18 cents to 36 cents. And then we've got our climb, and she is climbing, but she has broke her 200 and our 50-day here. She is trying to hang on to that 50-day like a monkey. We've got a 200 way down there. Oscillators say she's weak right now, but she's not in a panic. She's not in a fall. Things are kind of leveling off right now, like she's trying to come back up. Let's get a better, closer look by going to the 1 hour. So she was climbing on her 20. That's what she was bouncing on. She broke the 50, came back up over, started bouncing off the 50. She's broke that. She's trying to get back up on the 50 right now as she is cresting that 200. So she's at a very vulnerable point right now. We don't want her to get under that 200. Here come our MAs over top of her, but they're very, very close. She is on the 200, and she's got the 20 there with her right now. So there's a chance we could get a jump here. What do our oscillators tell us? Things are trying to come up. We've got our PPO, percentage price oscillator, trying to come up. Our downtrend is getting weak right now. Notice we had a double top here. Yes, it counts. We had a double top on our ADX. She fell real hard. After that, she is still in a fall, meaning that it's getting weaker. Our downtrend is getting weaker, and the yellow line tells us whatever dominant trend is up here, what its strength is. The higher the yellow line, the more strength. Well, it's falling. So we have it coming down right now. So I would expect it to actually be coming down and the uptrend growing. So we are at a point right now where there's a transition. Call it a reversal, if you will. Let's take a look at our 5-day, 15-minute. All right, there's not a lot of activity here. She is going sideways, trying to determine what she's doing. We hit that low bubble. She was on a downtrend. She's come back up to the 200. Off of that 200, went right to the 200 or 200 haul up to the 200. She's come back down to the 200. I love this. This is setting up beautifully, folks. When you get the price between the 200s, just start watching it. Watch it, folks. It can bounce like a pinball in there, and one of those bounces is going to be a Babe Ruth. It's going to go to and through the 200. This is looking very probable to me because we got the 20 underneath. Here it was looking good. We had a nice strong chance here, but she decided not to take it, even though everything was perfect. Well, everything is looking even better here. She gets on top of that 50 with the 20 underneath and a climbing 200 haul. In that 200, this deserves to be on your watch list as well, folks. FGen is in a breakout position. Our oscillators say that's exactly what she's working on. We got a crossover on our PPO. Uptrend is on the top now. It is growing in strength, says my ADX. My MACD is crossing over my signal line. Look at all those green bars getting bigger and bigger. And my RSI, we want that at least over 55. 55.65, just over 65. So I'd put this on my watch list. It's free to do, right? So we've got a stock here that is setting up and could take off, although I don't know why she would. That's the question. Outside of technicals, I don't see any reason for her to be going anywhere. Why did that happen? I seen my picture disappear. Did it disappear for you? Huh. All right. Let me say hello to anybody who decided to peek in while I was busy over here. Black and white, Foxo, please. Boy, Foxo got hot again today, didn't she? She started taking off, and did you see the warrant? The warrant went up 353% today. Super cheap. I mean, it was down there at like 2 cents and went to 4 cents or something like that. I don't know, but think about that, folks. These warrants can go to 20 cents, 50 cents, and they will. When the stock is at $2 to $3 and the warrant is at 2 to 3 cents, you want to get into that warrant because that warrant should be 8 to 10% of the value of the stock. That's standard. Well, what's 8 to 10% of $2 to $3? 20 to 30 cents. If you got into a warrant at 2 cents and it goes to 30 cents, what just happened? You made $1,500 for every $100 bill you invested. I've got a bunch of warrants I'm in right now for stocks, warrants that are at 2 to 3 cents. And Foxo is one of them. She is one of them I am holding. Although I got that one a while ago and I'm not excited about the warrant because the price of Foxo itself isn't between $2 and $3 yet. But she was moving today. Let's see what else we got going on over here. There's a new name. Eddie. Ide. Oh, forget it. You. How you doing? Let me see. OTLK news. You know, OTLK was a stock we were watching because they had 8-week phase 3 trial news come out that wasn't good. And the stock dropped really hard from $5 down to some ridiculous price near $1. So I expected it to come back because it was overkill. Plus, they launched that drug that they are failing with in Germany and the UK this month. And they are resubmitting it this month to the FDA. Well, I saw news today. It looks like the whole phase 3 trial did not succeed. So we're kind of back at the scratch board on that. So it did not look like good news today for OTLK. I saw how low she had dropped today, and I don't have any of the charts up for her right now. But that is what I noticed on her. All right, let me get rid of this. That's a big comment. That had blocked all my chart. Let me jump into the next chart, which is Belmore's. Belmore been waiting very patiently. Such a darling. Patience. Belmore got no patience. She's the first one here every day. She is always in a hurry. All right. I love you, Belmore. We are looking at ticker AEON. Yes, this did come from my loyal follower, Belmore. This is a biotech working on a common compound that many other companies are working on. We're going to look at that. They had massive volume today, closed a public offering, which actually put a 50% dilution on the stock. And we've got 313Gs out there, which are new big investors that came into the company. So ticker AEON, Aeon Biopharma. Yes, another biotech out of California. She finished today at 17 cents. She was up 55% today. And I'm scratching my head, folks. I don't know why she's up. This is a penny stock on the New York Stock Exchange. And in case we haven't mentioned it or noticed it yet, any stock on a major exchange under $1 is in hot water. They've got a minimum criteria for everything on the major exchange. That's why I like them. How many shareholders? How much stockholder equity? Market cap? Minimum bid price requirement. You can't go under $1 and stay under $1 for too long. If you do, you'll get a warning. Get that price back up in the next 6 months. You got to close over $1 for 10 consecutive days, then you're out of hot water. You can come under $1 during those 10 days, but you got to close over $1. We got to do that, not the company. And if we don't do it, they go down to the OTC or they do a reverse stock split. So any of these companies, you need to be going through their filing, seeing if they've gotten a warning from the NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange. If you don't want to go through all the filings, you can just go to Google and you can look up the word compliance and just put in their ticker and compliance. You'll probably come up with something then. And I haven't seen anything on this stock, so I'm really not sure. So what have I got for this company? Well, let's take a look. I seen my highlights were there, but they disappeared. All right. Aeon is a clinical stage biopharmaceutical company focused on developing its proprietary botulinum toxin complex, which they call ABP450. This is for debilitating medical conditions with an initial focus on neurosciences market. Now, the ABP450 is the same toxin complex that is currently approved and being marketed for cosmetics by Evos under the name of Juvo. It is also being manufactured by Daewon in compliance with the current good manufacturing practices in a facility that has been approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, Health Canada, the European Medicines Agency. Now, they're not saying all that is for them. They're saying the compound they're using has got all this going on with all these other companies. The product is also approved as a biosimilar in Mexico and India. Aeon has exclusive development and distribution rights for therapeutic indications. I guess all these other companies are using it for their things, whatever purposes, but not therapeutic uses. In the United States, Canada, and the European Union, as well as the United Kingdom, as well as other certain international territories. The company has built a highly experienced management team with specific experience in biopharmaceutical and this botulinum toxin development. Whew. Thanks, folks. I appreciate the biotechs. I've got one other page here, if it will come up for me. Of course, I've lost my highlights. All right, Aeon Biopharma announces closing of a $20 million underwritten public offering. Okay, this is the most recent news. It really is the only news I could find on the company. This came out January 7th. They completed it. It's done. What they sold were 40 million units. A unit is a package deal. You get a share of stock and you get a warrant. We know what warrants are. So we have 40 million new shares coming on the market. How many shares are there? 39 million, 39.9, 40 million. So we just doubled them, which means the shares you're holding are now worth half as much as they are worth. So why did it run? Well, let's jump back to that news. there was something else there. Those units also give out warrants. So there are 40 million warrants. Now, the warrants aren't guaranteed to be exercised, but if they are, anytime within the time they are opened up, 3 to 5 years down the road, actually, these are only good for 30 months. Very short warrants, 30 months. If these are exercised, and I'm sure they would be, they get to buy a share very cheap. That gives birth to a new share. That's another 40 million shares that are going to go into the float. So we are going to have 40 million in the front door, possibly 40 million in the back door, and we've already got 40 million. That is tripling our share count, making your shares worth 1/3 what they're worth right now. Why is it running? Well, the only thing I can guess, and that's all it is, folks, they put a price out there when the warrant goes live. They gave a price of 62.5 cents. When the stock hits 62.5 cents, you have the right to use that warrant. Now, I could not see what the price is here. I couldn't find that. No, I couldn't see that. But you can't use the warrant until it hits that price. And what price are we at? 17 cents. Now, we are a major exchange stock. The price should be over $1. That's just the way it should be. So to have a warrant exercisable at under $1 on the major exchange, that means somebody's going to make some money real fast. They're going to want to get this price up to 62 cents. So they may buy shares. That's the way I see the SPY. Nobody invests in the SPY stock to make money. If you bought 100 shares of the SPY, which is going for, let's just round it off to $550 a share. That would be $55,000 for 100 shares. If the stock has a great day and goes up $10, you made $1,000 off of your $55,000 investment. No. What you do is you buy an option which gives you 100 shares. That's what you're controlling, and you're going to make money over there. So now you buy shares of the SPY to turn the wheel to make the options go up or down. SPY is just a cog. Well, I think they could cog the stock. They could buy shares of the company stock to push it to 62 cents so they can get their warrants active, then push that price up to $1 where it needs to be, and then make even more money because they're going to be able to buy shares at a guaranteed lower price, though I don't know what that is. That's all speculation. I don't know why the stock is running, but I had to look at something. So what was the relative volume around the company today? Explosive. It just went nuts, folks. She was doing like 7 million shares a day, which is all right on the major exchange. But good God almighty, today she did 663 million shares. Why? Again, I'm scratching my head. Why is she doing so many shares? They're done with the units. I don't know what is going on. They're not selling anything new. So maybe they are doing that right now. Maybe they're trying to push the stock up right now to get it to 62 cents. It's all I can think of. What a jump in volume. Share structure. As we said, she's got 40 million. I don't know what the float is. Could be 40 million. Could be considerably less, depending on how many they own. And our outstanding share count, our market cap, we're at 4.3 million. Financials. Are they making any money? No. We got nothing coming in on the annual. Nothing coming in on the quarterly. So they're completely research and development. They got no revenue. So who's paying their paychecks? We are. We are. Every single month, every single year, we're the people paying them, paying their researchers, paying just the management, just for being there talking on the phone. Looking at the balance sheet, we've got just a little over $500,000 in the bank, 4 million in assets. Yes, research and development companies have a lot of debt because they're not making any money. We got 36 million in liabilities. So we, stockholders, are holding 32 million in stockholder deficit with no green on the horizon. A matter of fact, we're getting more and more dilution. Our shares are becoming worth less and less. And 30 months. So you're talking less than 3 years, these warrants are good for. That doesn't mean they have to hold them 30 months. That means if they don't use them in 30 months, they die. They're done and over with. Disclosures, I think we covered that. No, I did tell you we had a couple of 13Gs. There were 3 of them, 1, 2, 3, going back to the 8th. 3 new investors bought enough shares to actually qualify as partners in the company now. They are insiders. We had one for 3%, one for 6%, and one for 9%. All right, let's go check out this chart. AEON running for no reason that I can see. AEON, Aeon Biopharmaceuticals. Let's make our chart nice and big. Jump this back to a year. All right, any reverse stock splits here? Not that I see. So we've got a high here of $17.17. That's $17.17. That happened back in, where's the date? There it is, March of this year. From that high, she went into a steep decline, crashing through that 200 without even slowing down, hitting a price down here, wow, of $1.50. Holy cow, from $17 to $1.50. And she's fallen a little bit from there, but for the most part, she's only been going sideways with an occasional hiccup here and there. Our 52-week low is just over 10 cents. That seems to have hit January 15th. Everything looks to be rolling downhill on our yearly chart. We got a lot of lines here. Let me pull these lines off. Hopefully somebody will remind me to put these back. There we go. There's our low just yesterday. Right now, it looks like she's trying to bounce off of that low. All of our oscillators look like they're in recovery, actually. Everything looks to be bouncing back up with all the volume that came in today. 6-month, 4-hour view. Big drop right there. Boom, down to the floor from $4.41 down to $1.44. Straight across, took a crouch and then a pounce. Went right to the 200 from $1 all the way up to $3.50. Actually stood up there. Wow, that is impressive. To me, that's impressive. That is a very steep 200, and she stayed up there all the way until it was flat. When it was flat is when she decided to come back down. She's doing everything backwards here. Following underneath the 200, she took a jump here, went back under it, and she's just been hanging underneath, rolling downhill, down to a low of just under 10 cents, it tells me now. Oscillators, pretty stable right now. There is a little bit of heat, but nothing to really even mention. Take a look at our 20-day 1 hour. God, she likes to take these big drops, doesn't she? Big drops all of a sudden. This one went from 57 cents down to 17 cents. She has just been stair-stepping with these big drops like that. Dribbling downhill, she crossed through all of the MAs. She was under every single one. Went through the 9, 20, 200 haul, 50. Couldn't quite hold that. Fell back underneath them all. Right there, she's under them except the 200 haul, which is turned up. There's our 200 MA. She's now sitting on top of the 50, on top of the 9. You can't climb till you're on the 9. So she is actually set up for a breakout. I don't know if I'd count on it, but she is set up. We had a lot of volume come in today compared to all the days before. She's been flat on all of our oscillators, and right now everything has come to life. Everything is bouncing. We got volatility into the picture. You got to at least have that. You got to have volume. You got to have volatility. So things aren't looking too bad on the 1 hour chart. 5-day, 15-minute. I think she's coming back down to our 50 and 200. We had a nice rip there. Look at that. Basically, as soon as our 200 haul turned blue, right, you could see she started to run. When she got on top of the 50, that's when it turned blue. Turbo, vroom, 2, and through the 200, way up. And unlike most of them, it did not come back down to the 200. I expect the worst. It's great to have it not do it, but I expect the worst. This didn't do the worst. She's bouncing way the heck up here for some reason. Is that a support and resistance? She hit her head there. She hit her head on that support and resistance. What about that right there? And that's where she's bouncing off of this solid support right up there where that's all bouncing. She's gotten stuck in here, but now she's broke it. She's probably going to come down to about 14, 15 cents. Most likely going to bounce. With this volatility, that's what I'd be looking for. So another one to consider, AEON, simply for technicals. I don't see any reason for this to be running. I don't know why she's hot. Maybe people don't understand what's going on. But in either case, if a stock is running, I normally play it without knowing why it's running. It could be bad news. It could be good news. Doesn't matter. Technicals are what's important. That's what pays me, the technicals. It's kind of like the customer at the restaurant. I do work for the company, but they pay me $1.18 an hour. My customers pay me 18 to 25% of their bill. That's my true boss right there. So AEON could be on your watch list for tomorrow. Again, doesn't cost you anything to put it there. Well, let me come back and be sociable with you people. This is really why I'm here, is to talk to you all. Anything else going on here? David, put your bars back, John. My bars? What bars? You're going to have to explain that one to me. My bars. Put my bars back. On my chart? Is my chart missing my bars? No, I got my bars. Hello. Tex-Mex Tux. Hello, Tex-Mex. We're going to stick with short names here. Nicholas Hedel, great to see you there. All this conversation. I am glad to see that, folks, because I don't do enough talking with you, but then you really don't come here to talk to me, do you? You want to talk to me? Jump on over into Penny Boys. I'm over there all day from 9:30 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Not that I have a lot of time to talk, but that's where you can find me. In the evenings after my videos, I have more time to chat. You can drop comments in there. But honestly, if you want to catch up with me, that's the best place to do it. All right, let's see. We are at 452. I've got some more stocks all prepared for us to look at. Let us take a look next at COSM. COSM comes to us by way of, come on, this is from MBS. Thank you, MBS. This is another pharmaceutical company. Loads of insider buys and a nice low float. So Cosm, another American company. This is Cosmos Health. She finished today at 83.5 cents. She's up about 4.5%. Another hot penny stock on the NASDAQ. Her description is pretty decent, so we'll use it. Cosmos Holdings is an international pharmaceutical company with a proprietary line of nutraceuticals and a distributor of branded and generic pharmaceuticals, nutraceuticals, over-the-counter medications, and medical devices through an extensive, established EU distribution network. The company has also developed a global distribution platform and is currently expanding throughout Europe, Asia, North America. Cosmos Holdings has offices and distribution centers in Chicago, Athens, Thessaloniki, Greece, and Harlow, UK. I got a lot of windows opened up for them. So when I was doing my research, trying to figure out what drugs they had in the pipeline, I couldn't find that. That's normally what I look for when I jump into an R&D company with their drugs. I saw that they had 6 brands, though I don't know what those brands are, and they've got 5 subsidiaries. I'm sure that has to do with the different countries. They have Sky Farm, Cosmo Farm, Decahedron, Zip Doctor, and Canna Laboratories. Now, we're not going to dive into any of the due diligence for them. I'll let you do that. Right. There are a ton of Form 4s for this company. As I said, Form 4s can be good news if they've been buying shares. It can be bad news if they're selling shares because they know more than we do. So if you see a cluster of inside buys, a bunch of insiders all buying at the same time, this can be an indication that something's going to happen. Maybe it's already been released in news. Maybe it hasn't. Normally, insiders want to get ahead of the news, right? They don't want to miss a push. They've got the best opportunity in the world. So if we see them loading up, it could be an indicator for us to load up. So We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Form 4s all in a short period of time. This is the chief executive officer, whatever his name is. He made a purchase of 257,000 shares at 58 cents a share. He's got 3.7 million. The next one is the chief financial officer. He purchased himself 85,000 shares at 58 cents. He's got himself 3/4 million. We then have a purchase, another one from the chief executive officer for 62,000 shares. We have a purchase here from the chief executive officer. He's loading up, folks. This is on the 14th of January. He bought another 87,000 shares. Then on the, the 13th, he bought another 163,000 shares. Holy cow. This is all the same guy. And they tell us right here in the news that the CEO, Greg Siskos, and the CFO, George Thurs, both increased their stake by 343,000 shares at $200,000. So they just bought a ton of them. Why? I don't know. Is there something here in the news? Well, if it was, it would be after. So let's see if there's anything after the news. Cosmos Health announces distribution agreement with Virax Biolabs. I think that could be it, folks. That came out on the 13th. They were buying shares on the 14th, though, as well, weren't they? And that's after the news. Let's see if there was anything before that. Cosmos Health integrates Bitcoin and Ethereum as treasury reserve assets. We've seen a lot of companies doing that. It just makes sense. Rather than keep your cash base in a bank getting 3%, put it into Bitcoin. Bitcoin starts running, your assets grow sitting over there. And a lot of companies have been doing that. And it looks like the revenues have been growing. Oh, that's right. The one thing I did notice on the revenues that they mentioned here is that stockholders' equity jumped in their third quarter revenues by 8.8% up to 35 million. Woohoo! That's us. That's for us. So let's see here. I got a piece of news for that? I don't. This is the most recent piece of news. This is about their deal. The company has entered into a distribution agreement with Virax Biolabs to distribute Virax-branded avian influenza virus real-time PCR kits across various major European markets and certain Gulf Cooperation Council countries. Now, I think a PCR is a test kit. I think that's a test kit is what that is. See if there's any numbers down here. I look for dates and dollar signs. No, I don't see anything there. So that's the big deal over there. I don't know if the influenza virus is big over there, God forbid, but if it is, it could be a big moneymaker for them. So that could be a catalyst. I don't see anything else in the news. And was there any other filings for this company? Any 8Ks? I don't see any 8Ks, not here recently. So that seems to be everything. What was the relative volume on the company today? Well, she popped. Not a huge jump, but percentage-wise, it's about, 80% maybe, going from 160,000 shares a day on the major exchange to about 1.4 million today. Share structure for COSM. That's not bad. Outstanding share count is 23 million. Insiders own roughly 5 million. We get roughly 19 million. That's not bad, folks. Yeah, low float is great, 10 million and less, but anything under 100 million is good. Anything under 50 million is exciting. Anything under 25 million, I'm liking, and I think that's great. Market cap for the company, we're at about 19 million. Financials, they making any money? Yeah, pretty steady as a matter of fact. They're doing between 50 and 55 million every year, like clockwork. Problem here is, though, inflation kicked their butt. They were doing twice as much profit 4 years ago for the same money, dropping from 8 million down to 4.3 million. Quarterlies, they're doing between 12 and 15 million. A year ago, they were at 12.8. We're now at 12.4. Profit margin is pretty steady. They're at 1.2 then. We're at 1.2 now, 1.2 million. Balance sheet for the company. We've got money in the bank, 3.3 million. Total assets is 64 million. Liabilities is less than half, about 30 million. So we do have positive stockholder equity. We got 35 million. So the fundamentals are all in the black, all looking good. And we did already look at all this, right? Yes, we did. So only thing to look at now is the chart. Maybe I should start whispering because I'm losing my voice. I could use a cup of coffee, a little caffeine, a little nicotine. Oh, I do love my coffee. I do about 10 cups a day. Absolutely do. Got a rocking chair here. I really prefer rocking when I'm talking, walking when I'm talking, but you guys would think I was nuts if I was doing this. I think better if I'm moving, but I sit still so I don't make you seasick and so that you don't think I've actually got this mental problem. So let's kick this back to a year. Of course, you realize all these lines you've been seeing on my supports and resistances, you can tell the stocks that we're playing. I'm not playing all of these stocks, but we're playing them over at Penny Boys. And all of these are supports and resistances. We get in over top of one of these lines. And the very next yellow line, we get out underneath it. That's called a scalp. And these plays take anywhere from a minute to 20 minutes. That's the game plan normally. You get in, get out, and you take a gain. We're grabbing stocks that are running hard. We don't care about the beginning. That tells us it's running. And we don't care about how far it's going to go. You worry about the ceiling. I want to get the center, the most probable movement, the journey. That's what we snag up, that probable movement. So we've got a 52-week low prior to our high. This was back in April at 46 cents roughly. And then we hit a high of $1.58, going up about 350%. We hit that in August. Once we hit it, though, we came back down through that 200, crushing it and staying close underneath it. But the 200 was pretty flat. She had lots of opportunities to do something, but with all those MAs over her head coming down like a waterfall, she can't do anything until they get near her and under her, which looks to be what's going on right now. They finally got close, and now they're coming up underneath. Our 20 is flat. Our 50 is flat. Our 200 haul has now gotten up underneath the prices. It's all looking good. There's our 200. She's already trying to crack that. All of our oscillators are climbing on our yearly chart. Taking a look at our 6 month. Well, we're breaking out over the 200 right now. We had that downtrend. She started hitting her head on it, came back down, had some strong pushes towards it, a nice strong wick. Is that a, no, it isn't. I was looking to see if that was a bar that I used to tell me she's going to break out, but this came down way lower than where this one started. But once she hit that low bubble, she came back up, bounced off of that, and it has been uphill ever since. Look at how she's floating on that 9-day MA on the 4-hour chart. She doesn't come below that. Don't be worried what your 5-minute chart says. Oh, she's falling. No, she's dipping. She's falling if she comes underneath that 9-day MA. Then she's got to come down to the next one underneath somewhere. Right now, this is looking beautiful. The only thing you worry about when the price is over the 9 is it getting too far above the 9. It's not an eagle. It doesn't fly. It's a kangaroo. It bounces on anything. It'll bounce on any of these, but it has to have something. So if it gets too high, expect it to come back down and hopefully just to the one underneath it. Looking at our 6-month, 4-hour view, where are you at? Oh, I'm on our 6-month. Sorry. 1 hour, 20-day. Steady downtrend, not strong, but right here, she took advantage. She pushed up, and this was all it took. That little jump right there pulled it up, made our 200 flat. She tried to get up on it, did not succeed. Started pulling it back down, hit this low. Off of that low, she's jumping and bouncing while the 200 is coming down again. She's really got a lot of opportunity here. She just keeps missing them. This one she has definitely caught. All of our MAs now are over the 200, starting to climb, still floating, on that 9-day MA, even on our hourly chart. Oscillators, every single one of them look to be pushing up. Take a look at that MACD a little closer. Yes, MACD is bouncing right now. She is coming up, and we are climbing back into the overbought on our RSI. Now, don't let anybody tell you that overbought on the RSI is bad. Unless you're entering a swing play, that means it's hot. It's being pushed right now. There's a lot of volume. It's running. That's what we want for scalps. We want as much heat as we can get. All the volume, all the lines going up. We want this to be as high as it can be. But if you're going in for a swing, you want a good price, a cheap price. You don't want it when it's on the overbought. Coming down to the 5-day, 15-minute, we've got ourselves a nice, steady climb here, folks. She started off bouncing on the 20. She came down to her 50 right there. She's hitting her 50. She's breaking the 20 over the 50. She's looking good, folks. She is using her MAs properly here. She's keeping them all nice and tight. As long as she keeps coming down through them like that, she keeps them tight. We don't have to worry about anything getting too far spread, a big drop. This is a nice, steady climb. Here was our biggest jump, and she just came back down, and you can see she was bouncing on the 20. This was a little high, so she came back down to the 50. This is great, folks. I'm liking this one. Cosm doesn't look like she's a ripper and a runner, but if you're looking for a swing, this might be a pretty decent swing. Let's get some supports and resistances down in this area. We got one right in this area at about 80 cents. Now, I don't think she's going to come back to that. She could. If she was to take a dip, she would come back. I just seen that change again. Is this going off and on for you guys? I hope that's not the problem. I have been having problems with StreamYard with audio, putting squelches, sometimes dragging out the picture. So if you've been having problems, I'm sorry. This is the only way I can do a live stream is through StreamYard. Cats. So back to my point. I think Cosm is good for a swing trade. Do some more due diligence on her, folks. Learn more about the company. The chart is looking like she wants to go right now. She could come down to 80 for an entry. She could hit her head up here at about 90. So if she starts bouncing in between here, you might be able to pick her up at 80 cents before she continues on. Oh, my voice. I hate it when my voice starts giving up on me. Okie dokie. After hours trading. Oh, you and Mark are teaming up on me, aren't you? Finger red number one. You guys are having fun. I'm not even going to read your comments anymore. If that's all you're doing is after market trading. We got somebody talking about plug. Black and white wants to talk about one and grab. That's not a ticker. That's a greeting. Hello. How you doing? Supports and resistances. He removes them to show us a clean chart. Oh, that's what you meant. You, my pal. You're right. I forgot to put them in. If I remove my supports and resistances, all I got to do is hit Control Z, and it puts every single one back in, which I had to put in individually, manually. So now I've got to go back and put those all in again manually. That's a lot of work. So thanks. I appreciate that. Brain fart. Okay. Where are we at? 5:10. I got anything else here saved? I do. I've got Kappa. Let's jump into Kappa. Kappa. While she's loading, let me get my notes here. This came from the underdog. There's no need to fear. Underdog is here. If you don't know what I'm talking about, do a Google search. Kappa, another pharmaceutical company. Bless your heart, underdog. God, I love you, pal. So this one, this is a research and development company. What's that tell us? Right from the get-go, they're not going to have any revenues. They are working with reversing cancer drug resistance. You take a drug long enough to fight your cancer, you start building up a resistance to it, and it doesn't work. So they have learned why that happens. That something builds up on a certain protein inside on top of the cancer, and they can get rid of that scum that builds up, and again, the drug works. How was that for a layman's explanation? I'm not going to read what I had saved now. That's what they do. And they've got themselves a low float to boot. Caros is another biopharmaceutical company out of California, finishing the day at $1.77. She was up 34% today. This is a biotech on the New York Stock Exchange. They tell us the company operates a clinical stage biopharmaceutical company. Notice the differences here. Early clinical stage. That's always going to be research and development. They're never going to make a dollar. They're going to be begging for you forever. So any company that says we are an early clinical stage development company, run. Don't be looking at them unless you want long-term investments. Clinical stage, late-term clinical stage, all of these tell you at what stage that they're at, so you know how long you're going to have to hang around for catalysts. The company develops therapeutics for cancer patients. Its therapeutics include antibodies and small molecules for the treatment of prostate cancer, lung cancer, breast cancer, and brain cancer. That's easier to say. So let's see what I've got. Is this the one I don't have to read? Yeah. What I was saying about scraping the scum off of the cancer's protein that prevents drugs from working. That's what that says right there. Reversing immunity to drugs. Jumping into, now I get highlights? Are you kidding me? Any little bit is appreciated. They did not have a lot of news with this company. I noticed that the company was approved for dual listings. There is the upstream. I have never checked into the upstream. I'm honestly ignorant about it. Honestly, I know it exists out there. I'm not quite sure what it is. Do they actually trade stocks? Because that's what this company is a stock company. I thought maybe it was for cryptos. Maybe they sell cryptos too. I don't know. But the company is listed here as well as there. Never hurts to have your stuff in other people's shelves. And then they're going through a lot of different conventions, if you will. They're presenting their information about what they do. I don't know if this is to get big investors or little investors, but they're out there doing a lot of that right now. And the last thing I've got, yes, the only filing I saw worthy of talking to you about, January 14th, the company entered into a securities purchase agreement. Somebody's going to buy some of their shares. It is an accredited investor, somebody who's got hundreds of thousands of dollars. They are going to be buying up to $3.5 million worth. So the company's got an investor who's going to invest $3.5 million. Nothing wrong with that. And that's really all I see going on here. I got nothing else to say. Relative volume for the company. Down more than 50%. Normally doing about 4 million shares a day over the last 30 days. Today, she's doing 1.5 million shares. Share structure. Ooh, that's good. We got about 13 million shares outstanding. Don't know what the insiders own, so I can't tell you what the float is, but 12 million, I don't care what it is. Anything up to 12 million is fine with me, but it really could be a lot less. And the neat thing is with these biotechs, you do see a lot of shares normally being owned by the insiders. Financials, R&D. So what are we expecting? Zilch, goose eggs, nothing annually, zippo, nothing quarterly either. They better have some money in the bank. They do. They can pay their employees. We got cash and cash equivalents of about 3.2 million. Total assets at 5 million. Liabilities at 1.6. So investors actually got stockholder equity. Are you kidding me? $3.3 million. No revenues, no profits. They've got money in the bank and we got stockholder equity. I kind of like that. It's about the only thing I like. Looking at the disclosures just to make sure I didn't miss anything. What did I have to say about the notes over here? Low float. I didn't mention any of this. Let's see what we got here for this 8K. 8Ks are material changes, so they're always worth poking your head into. And the top up here will tell you that's that securities purchase agreement that we just looked at. We got another one here. This is over a month ago, though. And this is some sort of management change. I don't know what it is, but that's what it is. So the last thing to look at now for the company is the chart. Copa. Let's go check it out. That's not the button I meant. My bad. Stuff happens. Yes, it does. We've had worse on this show, so give me a break, please. Get out of there. Okay, my computer's having a hard time right now. Going back a year, Carios Pharma, 12 months. Ooh, this looks like when she came on the market. This was in September, so I can probably get that with just the 6 month. Sure can. So there we go. 6 months ago, this came on the market at, tough to say. Looks like she came on at about $2.50, $3, somewhere like that. She fell to a low of $2.18. She popped to a high of $4 on her IPO, her initial offering, public offering, and she fell from there. She came all the way down from $4 down to $1. She gained a little, but just went sideways for a while, popped again to $3.50, fell again, hit a low here, 52-week low of 85 cents, took a jump off of that up to $3.19. She does have pops, but they are far spread. I wouldn't want to hang on to this waiting for a pop. She came back down to the 200, and she is looking like she's ready to run. Now, we had lots of volume back here about a week ago. I don't see any volume showing up for today's pop. Our oscillators are all starting to grow, though, except our RSI, which says she's actually falling right now. Let's come on down to our 1 hour chart. A little clearer, sideways activity, just riding that 200, had no intentions of doing anything. Now, I don't know, was there any news? I didn't see any news. Minding your own business on the 200. The average price, what you expect it to be at. That's the biggest, the most data you got. All of a sudden, she takes the drop to a low bubble. Why? Well, if you can't find a reason, how about a crouch and pounce? We talk about this often. When I see a stock fall after going sideways in a good zone and just drops to a low bubble, I expect a jump. I expect her to climb. She needs to bend her knees to jump higher. A cat doesn't just jump standing. It bends its knees to jump like a kangaroo. And that's exactly what I see here. The kangaroo jumped, came down and took a day. But come on, folks. What other reason do we have for this? So we had a huge jump here at 98 cents. She fell to 85, came back up, took a dip. Now, maybe when she got back up over the 9-day, but look, that 9-day was a big jump. That was from 95 cents all the way to there. Now, I don't buy stocks under the 9 unless I'm trying to do a swing. She's got to be looking like she's ready to come up for any entry. You buy on a red bar. What's that mean? It's falling. So if I buy on a red bar, why should I be surprised that she falls after I buy it? I bought on a red bar. Buy on green bars. So it took a while, but she did crouch and pounce. We had a big jump. She came back down to the 50. She's riding that 50, trying, and she's meandering. She's doing a lot of work here. Now she's back to the 200. What do I think she's going to do? She likes to sit on the 200 for long periods of time and then bounce. She hasn't got any catalysts. So I think she's going to hang around this. I think she's just going to roll around the 200. I'm not going to be putting Kappa on my watch list. If you like her for some good reason, I'm not putting it down. I'm just saying I don't see any reason for her to jump tomorrow or probably for the, what was it? Every 20 days? I'm going back. 20 days? Yeah, 25, 30 days, something like that. Okie dokie. What time is it? 5:18. Okay, I got one stock left, don't I? Let me check over here. See if you trade with me. We do. Nope. Yes. Oh, no. Oh, God. You know, I will look at whatever stocks you want. Mining companies, biotech, pharmaceuticals. I'm mentioning those three because they're my least favorite because they have technical terms that just make it really tough to read. I don't even understand what I'm reading half the time. I look stupid reading it. And these stocks normally aren't taking good, strong runs. Most of them pop and drop. But it's your show. So I'll look at whatever you want. We've got another pharmaceutical company. This is SLS, Salis Life Sciences. This comes to us by way of, who do I got to thank? JM. You the man. This is a pharmaceutical company, R&D, no revenues. They have a phase 2 drug trial and a phase 3 drug trial investigation, which some people presume is a good thing. It is not a good thing because they had 60 events. We'll talk about that here. They have lots of Form 4s, but they don't have any buys or sells in them. They're all to do with restricted stock that they're moving around. So there's no filings we have to look at. There is no news here, but I did find one piece of news, thank God, over at Yahoo Finance. So let's take a look at the company. Salis Life. Let me go back to my page. Where are we supposed to be? Right here. Salis Life finished today just under $1 at 98.28 cents. She was up just over 1% today. She's a penny stock on the NASDAQ. We didn't look at any OTC stocks today, did we? She is from the U.S. She comes out of New York. So what do I got for you here? Well, let's see what we got. Disclosures, as I said, they had lots of Form 4s, but these have nothing to do with purchases. This 8K wasn't of interest. That Form 4 was of no interest. I would have shared it with you if it was. There is no news here. It's empty. The only news I found was over here at Yahoo. Do I still have my highlights? Yes, thank you very much, because this is a big piece of news. There is a lot of information here. So this came out on the 8th. Salis announces key business objectives. So they've got a lot of information in here. So if you want to go through this, this will tell you big things that they've done, things that they're shooting for. They have got a lot of information here, but I want to point out a few things that I thought were worthy of considering now. The company, a late-stage clinical biopharmaceutical company focused on the development of novel therapies for a broad range of cancer indications. We believe that 2025 will be a pivotal year for Salis as we continue to advance our clinical stage portfolio of novel therapeutics for hematologic malignancies. We anticipate full top-line data set from our phase 2 trial of SLS009 in acute myeloid leukemia. Now, when they say full top-line results, that makes you think it's good because you hear the word top line. Top line doesn't have anything to do with good or bad. It just means final, closer to the end. That's closer to the real definition of it. And that is for their phase 2 trial for efficacy, how well their drug is working. When they get to the end of that, they go to phase 3 if they pass. As well as an interim analysis from their phase 3 Regal being conducted by the Independent Data Monitoring Committee. Now, I want to tell you something here. They are in a phase 3 trial and they are being investigated because they just hit a mile marker of 60 events. They will have another investigation when they hit 80 events. What are we talking about? It sounds bloody good to me. It ain't. An event is a death. They have already had 60 people die in this drug trial. Would you believe over 8,000 people a year die from drug trials? And there's nothing you can do about it. You sign all the paperwork in the front door that you can't sue. That's what drug trials are for. Protect the rabbits. So we do it to people. Hey, we do pay them, if that makes any difference. So they've had 60 people die already. Phase 3 Regal study of GPS in the AML reached pre-specified threshold of 60 events, deaths, initiating in the interim, the beginning analysis being conducted by the independent data study. If they hit 80, they'll be studied again. Now, this study is going to take a little bit of time. They did give us a date here. They expect it by January, sometime in January. So we should get a determination if the deaths have been within the acceptable range. I don't know, I mean, what's an acceptable range? Well, it's okay, died over that. Oh, no, you can't die over that. I'm not quite sure, but they've had 60 people die already. I don't know how many people are even in the study. And they've got a lot more information here, folks, as I said. So you're probably going to want to jump into this. This has got all the details from both of those studies. And I've got no more information, news, or filings to share with you. So let's jump on over into that relative volume area. Yikes. She's dropped about 50% of her relative volume. Not that she was on fire before. She was doing about 1.5 million shares a day over the last 30 days. Today, she's doing about half of that, 750,000. Share structure for the company, 70 million in the outstanding share count. We can live with that. I don't know what the float is, but even if there's not one share owned by the insiders, it wouldn't be a bad float. But if the insiders didn't own anything, that would be a problem. That would be a concerning issue. Market cap for the company, we're at 68 million. R&D, so we don't expect anything but goose eggs, right? Well, they were making money. Why? I don't know. They're not making any money at the end of 2023. Let's see here. At the end of September 2024, we still haven't made any money. What's their bank account look like? Oh, they got lots of money in the bank. They got $21 million in the bank, 26 million in total assets, 10.5 million in liabilities, and that gives us about 16 million in stockholder assets. So we're not holding a bag here. We do have equity, though we don't have any money coming in right now. And they are right at that point, $1. They got to stay up over $1. We don't want them going under $1. Disclosures. I don't think we had anything to look at there. I told you they had a whole bunch of them, but there was nothing really to consider here. So let's go check out SLS. Well, I've still got a voice. Come on, don't freeze up on me now. Please don't freeze on me now. Uh-oh, she's freezing on me now. Da-da-da-da-da. There we go. I work my computer to death, folks. I swear to you, I can have 100 windows open at one time, and it will freeze up on me. Okay, where are we at? That's 4 hours. Let's go back to, matter of fact, I'm going to close some of these windows just so I get some more power. I've got lots of windows opened up over here that I really don't need. Well, she's not going to let me close them, so I guess I'll come back over here. C'est la vie. Going back to the 1 year. Slow poke. Wow. We had a nice rip there, didn't we? She went from 49 cents. That's our 52-week low. That was at the end of January of 2024. Up to $1.72. She hit that in March. So that took over a month. You had to be very patient taking your gains with this one. That was a long swing right there. Once she hit this high, once she stretched up really high, she came all the way back down to about $1. She came down to $1. That became a strong support here. She bounced off of that, pretty much came up to that same exact high again, $1.71, back down to the 200. Another rip to $1.70, back down to the 200. Woo! Now she's hanging on to the 200, waiting for the 200 haul. She gets on top of everything, and what does she do? She plummets. She was in the most powerful position she could be in right there. Everything was turned up right at this point, and she fell. I don't know if shorters jumped in or what. Maybe, could be. Came from $1.30 all the way down to 82 cents. She did bounce immediately off of that. I do like to see a quick bounce off of a low bubble. Lots of shoppers out there looking for 52-week low bubbles. When they see a low bubble, they'll automatically go to the financials, and if it looks undervalued, they'll buy it, and it will jump immediately. And those are normally good, quick scalps you can get into. So it fell down here to 77 cents and jumped back up to $1.14. Not huge, but that was a nice run. Came back down to a new support halfway in the middle of her run here at 89 cents. And right now she's up at a strong support, the one we were at way back here, $1. Oscillators are all pretty even keel right now. Not a whole lot going on. I'm just going to jump on down to our 1 hour because I don't expect to see a whole lot on the 4 hour. So we've got some extra supports and resistances in there. Nah, this is an entry right there. That one right there is an entry. We don't need that one. And that was an exit right there. I don't need that one. Get in over top of these supports and resistances. Get out underneath. These are probable moves like speed bumps. The price likes to bump its head up underneath here. You can see a whole bunch of those. But once it gets over that speed bump, what's it normally do? Drives to the next speed bump. And then it bumps its head again. So we consider that over the speed bump is a probable move here. And that's where we like to trade. Right now, she is in my probable move area. She was right down here, gliding across the bottom. Once our 20-day came into the picture, boom, she jumped, went through my probable move and crushed it. She is now over top and on top of that, creating a new support and resistance for us up here. Let's see, that new one is going to be right up in this area, isn't it? About right there. Yep, she's getting real close to it. Look at right here. We have a upturning 200 haul, upturning 50, upturning 20. 9 is already up. It has just crossed the 200. Big green bars compared to these little itty bitty baby bars. This is the breakout chart breaking out right now. Everything looks good on the 1 hour chart. 5-day, 15-minute chart. There's your breakout. She was running here, following the 200 haul, dipped. That is your crouch before the pounce, up onto the 200, one poke, the long jump, right? Boing, boing, boom. That's what you got here. Down low, boing, 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 boom. Pow, folks, right off of the 200 haul through every single MA, to and through the MA. How many times do I say it? I say it because it happens over and over again. That's a money maker run that occurs so many times. 200 haul on the bottom, price on top of the 50, 200 MA over top. Zoom. Fell back down. Who cares? I made my money. Let's get ready for another one. She comes back down to the 200. Boing, 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 boom. Here we go. Another jump from 92 cents up to 98. Now we're bouncing on the 100. We get another jump. She looks hot. She looks like she wants to climb. She keeps jumping. The volatility is okay. We don't want a stock to just go, 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 go. It's going to get too far away from everything, and then it's going to crash back down to earth. I would rather have something just jumping like that all the way up, giving me opportunities to scale in at each opportunity to grab more gains. So this is looking beautiful, folks. Her jumps are getting bigger. They're getting more often. Our 200 is turned up. All of our MAs are turned up. All of our oscillators are turned up. You can't ask for a hotter chart right now. Just make sure the price, look, it just moved. It just went up. Make sure the price does not get too far above the 20. When it does, expect a pullback. That would be your buy-in. Whew, I just made it with my voice. I don't know if I have any left. Honestly, folks, this is horrible. Penny stalker. Boom. Late to the show? No, you've been sitting there in silence. I know you. You're a watcher. You got big, long watch lists, and I'm on one of them. Hi, John. Great job. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Trying to do my best here. We are only generally covering these stocks. I'm sure I am missing gaps here and there, but I'm pulling out things I think are relevant to you. Maybe something you didn't know. Looking at charts, teaching you things that I look at. That's one of the great things about watching somebody else chart. It's like eating somebody else's spaghetti. We all use the same ingredients, really, right? So why does everybody's spaghetti taste different? A very simple meal. So when you look at someone else charting, you always pick up something. I like to watch as many charters as possible. And I'll give it away, folks. Come on over to my Penny Boys group. We got lots of premium teachers that give free live streams. And you can watch them chart live trading. You can see what they pinpoint, what they look for, their signals, their confirmation bars, things like that. Look, when you can pick up key points on charting, you're really getting ahead of the game. looking at hot charts is one thing, but knowing where to look on that hot chart, that's an entirely different game. Man, I have really appreciated you all being here with me. I hope I didn't fuddle up too much. I hope that the screen was working for you all the time. And I'm sorry if I didn't say hello to every single one of you, because every single one of you mean a very, very, very big deal to me. I've got over 5,000 subscribers now. I know in the big scheme of things, that ain't squat diddly. It would be even better if you all watched my videos. I get about 300-400 views per video, which is more. It's growing now. Thank you very much. But boy, it would be a lot better if all of you watched. But in either case, I know you are all core traders. And the ones of you that do view me, man, you're my loyal followers. And I want to thank you very, very, very much. And I would love to meet each and every one of you. So hopefully one day we will be able to get together somehow. But in the meantime, join me over at Penny Boys any time of day. But we are trading over there between 9:30 and 4 o'clock for anybody to join with us. And if you've got questions, come over there and ask them. We love questions. There's no such thing as a dumb question. You want to know what a ticker is? Ask us. Nobody's going to make fun of you. And if anybody does, we'll take care of them. I promise. That don't go on in our group. Thanks, folks. I know you gave me a whole lot of other tickers there to look at. I'm sorry I couldn't get to them. I'm only one guy. Maybe I should clone myself or get AI out there and have 3 or 4 of these videos a day, you know? Oh, you'd get sick of me then. All right, folks, that's enough. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your loyalty. I will be back. Don't do videos on Friday, but I do put one out on the weekend. But catch up with me at Penny Boys. Thank you, guys. I'll see you later. I'm going to do a Home Alone face. Anybody want to see it?